Welcome to Dreamful Podcast, bedtime stories for slumber. I would like to start off this episode by thanking our newest Patreon supporters, Amy Wittig, Hanali Ulrich Peck, and Gus Mondragon. Thank you so much, and I hope you have the sweetest of dreams. If you would also like to contribute to the creation of Dreamful, please visit dreamfulstories.com, where you can find info about the show, and on the support page, there's a link to become a Patreon subscriber. Patreon is a wonderful website where for just $1 a month, you'll get bonus episodes and cool perks like voting on upcoming stories. Members who pledge on the higher tiers get more bonus episodes, as well as a handwritten card from me and behind-the-scenes content. When I am having trouble sleeping, it usually has a lot to do with my anxiety levels and overall mental health. That's why this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs with a quick and comprehensive survey and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 24 hours in a safe and private online environment with the convenience of skipping an uncomfortable waiting room. Send a message to your counselor anytime and receive timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, schedule weekly video or phone sessions. This service is available for clients worldwide, and you can find a licensed professional counselor that specializes in your specific needs, whether that be depression, sleeping, family conflicts, trauma, and much more. Best of all, it's more affordable than offline counseling, and financial aid is available. Start living a happier life today. As a listener of Dreamful, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/dreamful. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, help spelled HELP.com/dreamful. In this episode, we are featuring a book called Tom Woof and Max the Owl. This is a fantastic story by Jane Owen that encourages creativity and a deeper understanding of others. I actually love this children's book so much that I purchased a copy of it. I will be holding a raffle for my Patreon subscribers, and the winner will receive this book along with a couple other goodies. For more information about today's story, visit tomwoof.com. And if you'd like to participate in the raffle, head on over to patreon.com/dreamfulpodcast. I have also put links in the show notes. Without further ado, enjoy the story of Tom Woof and Max the Owl. So, snuggle up in your blankets and have sweet dreams. Once upon a time, in the beautiful countryside where there are rolling green hills, large leafy trees, and the bluest sky, was a farm with a thatched roof. In one of the fields, there was a huge beech tree that provided shade to the farm. It was also the home of the wisest of all the animals, Max the Owl, who watched over the farm from its top branches. On the farm lived the most amazing animals, all different and special in their own way, including 4 sheep, 6 pigs, 12 cows, 2 horses, 1 owl, whom you've already met, and the newest addition to the farm, a little puppy called Woof, Thomas Woof. Even though all the animals lived together, they didn't get along and fought with each other all the time. The cows grumbled moo at the sheep. The sheep bleated complaining baas. The pigs meanly oinked at the chickens. The chickens were always clucking, cluck cluck at the horses. And as for the horses, well, they did not speak to anyone who wasn't a horse. But even though they didn't get along with each other and were always fighting, they agreed on one thing. The new addition to the farm, Thomas Woof, was a very naughty puppy. Tom Woof the puppy was a writer. He was always writing on everything. He wrote on the walls of the stables. He wrote on the fences in the fields. He wrote on the roof of the coop where the chickens slept last night. He wrote anywhere where there was space to write. He even wrote on the sheep's woolly bellies and on the backs of the cows while they were sleeping. Tom Woof was a puppy who loved making up stories. Every day there were new ones popping into his head. All the animals on the farm were angry with Tom for writing everywhere. They didn't realize that it was because Tom felt strongly that he had to write them down as soon as he thought of them, wherever he was. Otherwise, he would forget them. They thought he was just being naughty. Tom's stories were scrawled all over the farm, with words here and sentences there. The animals on the farm could not read his stories properly because the sentences were not in the right order, and they were all in different places instead of in one. All they saw was their walls covered in scribbles. They saw a big mess. This made Tom Woof very unpopular. The animals didn't like him at all. They complained about him to the farmer. They called him a vandal and a troublemaker. He must stop, they all cried. Tom Woof was lonely. He'd hoped that he would have friends in his new home. He wished the other animals could understand the stories he was trying to tell them. Tom Woof couldn't understand why he was in trouble all the time, just for writing his stories. Until one day, Max the Owl found Tom sitting under the big beech tree, looking very sad, and he decided to talk to him about it. There, Tom Woof. You have a wonderful talent," he said, patting Tom's back with his wing. Max the Owl had flown all around the farm, reading Tom's writing, and had realized that when you read the words and sentences all together, they made a wonderful story. "You are a very good writer," he said to Tom, "but you should try to organize your stories and write them down in a book so that the other animals can read and enjoy them, instead of reading only bits of them here and there." "I understood it was a story because I could fly and see everything you wrote all together," said Max. "The pigs, cows, sheep, and horses cannot fly, young Thomas, so they can't understand. When you write them all together, they will become a great story everyone can enjoy." This made Tom Woof smile. "But first, we need to clean up the mess you made," said Max. Over some sunny days, and a few rainy ones too, Tom Woof started scrubbing the walls, fences, and roofs, where he had been writing his stories in scribbled words, all jumbled up before. the other animals watched him and were happy that he was cleaning the farm. He even washed the tummies of the sheep and the backs of the cows. After he finished cleaning, Max showed Tom how to write all his ideas down in one place, all together in a book. He explained that stories can have heroes and heroines and problems to solve. Max taught Tom how to decide what part of the story should go at the start, in the middle, and at the end. He showed him how to write a story down from start to finish so that he could read them to the other animals and to the farmer and his family. When Tom had written his whole story down, all that was left was the title. He called it My New Home, and it was to be the first story in the big book of stories by Tom Woof. Max gathered all the animals together to listen to Tom Woof reading his first story. The animals were curious. What did Tom Woof really have to say with all his writing here and there? They asked each other. The sheep came, the cows came, the pigs, chickens, and even the horses showed up to hear the story. When they were all together, Tom stood in front of them and started to read his story out loud. It was wonderful. The animals laughed at the funny parts, gasped at the exciting parts, and hugged each other during the one scary part. When Tom finished reading his story, all the animals began applauding very loudly and congratulated him on writing such a good story. Then they realized that this was the first time they had all been together without fighting. The pigs were not meanly oinking at the chickens, and the horses were finally talking to the other animals. Every evening from then on, Tom would read a new story to the animals, who were now his friends. They all enjoyed his stories so much that they would gather together the next day to talk about them. Sometimes they would discuss how the stories made them feel, and sometimes they would just talk about how excited they were to hear the next one. Some of them even started writing down their own stories. Max and Tom wrote lots of stories together in the big book of stories, and were best friends forever on what was now a very happy and peaceful farm. After a while, the farm was renamed Storybook Farm, and animals from all around came to visit and to hear the stories Tom Woof would read to them.